Are you ready to take your message, your business, and your life to the next level?
Want to learn from someone with more than a decade of experience, training tens of thousands of people from all around the world?
Hi, Cliff. This is Pauline from Auckland, New Zealand.
John from Calgary, Alberta.
Amy Porterfield.
Michael Hyatt.
Dan here from Dunedin, New Zealand.
Ray Edwards.
Mark Mason. Mike Stelzner.
Pat from Smart Passive Income.
It's Darren from Melbourne, Australia.
Now is the time to live the life of your dreams and do the work you feel most called to do in the world.
Welcome to the Cliff Ravenscraft Show.
Here's your host, Cliff Ravenscraft.
That's right, my friends. Welcome back to another episode of the Cliff Ravenscraft Show. So delighted to have you join me for this 602nd episode. Today, we're going to be sharing with you a true fan case study. That's right, my friends. Back in episode number 578 of this podcast, I shared with you the power of the message of having only 1,000 true fans. In that episode, I talked about the fact that you do not need a large audience to make a great living. This is something that many people have been pursuing aggressively, freaking out about the fact that, let's just say, they only have 2,000 or 3,000 subscribers to their podcast, and they've been doing this for 2 or 3 years, and they like, Cliff, how do I get to that place where I can get, to 50,000 or 100,000 people? I just, can you help me get to my next 5,000 subscribers, Cliff? And I'm like, sure. And I hope you don't mind if it takes maybe the next 5 to 10 years to get there. But let me tell you why you should get excited about how you're going to achieve that goal of your next 5,000 over the next 5 to 10 years. And maybe I need a different podcast consultant. and quite frankly, some people had that. But the ones who said, well, okay, tell me more why I should be excited about that. And I talked to them about this concept of the 1,000 true fans, originally introduced by Kevin Kelly years ago. Again, if you want to hear the entire breakdown of the 1,000 true fan concept, then I encourage you to go back to episode number 578 of this podcast. I'm not going to reintroduce the whole thing here. All I will tell you is that the overall summary is that it is absolutely, beyond a shadow of a doubt, possible for you to have an incredible living. As far as what does that mean? Maybe that's $80,000 a year, $120,000 a year, $200,000 a year of income, making that kind of money with as little as 1,000 true fans. In fact, if you go back to episode 578 and listen, I do the math on how you can do it with only 100 true fans. And I think if my memory serves me correctly, I believe I may have even done the math on how you can make that kind of money with only 10 true fans. Now, it's important that you understand how we define a true fan. I am going to reintroduce a little bit of that today, but today I'm actually going to give you an example. All right. So, by the way, episode 578 was an introduction to what is the 1,000 true fan concept. And if my memory again serves me correctly, I believe episode 579, I think, was something about, it was some tips on how do you gain true fans. So 578, 579 of this podcast, they're gold. Go back and listen to them. Today, this is just an example, a case study of just how it's basically the journey of one true fan, a man named Stephen Faust. So I'm going to do my best to read to you this extremely lengthy post that I shared with my Next Level Mastermind groups in written form. And it's not, I even told him, I said, listen, this has not been proofread or anything. I spent about 2 hours crafting this message, but I just had to share with you this true fan case study, the journey of a true fan. All right, so let me start off by reading this. In September 2017, you all know that I made a commitment to get my life to where I spend a minimum of 80% of my work week within my zone of genius. Since then, I've eliminated a number of things that did not bring me joy and that did not excite me, and I have worked diligently on replacing all that income doing work that I feel most called to do in this world. As a result of that, I've created a number of products and services, both paid and free, that allow me to fully tap deep into my zone of genius while doing the work to create and perform these products and services. These products and services include the following: The Cliff Ravenscraft Show, a weekly podcast that contains highly valuable insights and information geared to help people take their message, their business, and their life to the next level. This, and I'm going to ad-lib as I go through here. This product is 100% free, and it has been a consistent, ongoing source of entertainment, education, encouragement, and inspiration for literally tens of thousands of people around the world. All right? Product service number 2, the weekly email newsletter. Unlike a number of other email newsletters, my true fans, in quotes, actually look forward to Monday mornings where they're going to start their week off knowing that there will be an encouraging message from me inside their email box as soon as they open up the email. This product also 100% free. Then there's the Audio Journal podcast. This is a podcast that I launched a few months ago. This podcast is for those true fans within my community who want as much audio content as I can give them. This podcast contains a ton of bonus content and very authentic and transparent behind-the-scenes look at the decisions that I'm currently making in my personal and professional life, the mindset that went into why I decided to make the decisions that I did, and more importantly, I talk authentically and transparently about the results that happened as a result of those decisions, both good and bad, and basically what I'm learning through the process, how that's going to impact whether or not I continue to do that or change things up or do it again. Anyway, this product is a mere $10 per month and is offered only as a benefit through the Patreon program, which, by the way, you can learn more about what is the Audio Journal in the episode right before this one, episode 601. Oh my gosh. Yeah, episode 601. That's correct. And if you listen to episode 601, you will hear an example of the Audio Journal. And of course, you can sign up for that over at mindsetanswerman.com/audiojournal if you're interested. All right, next product or service that I created, Building an Online Business Next Level Workshop. These are small group live events hosted here in the Next Level studio for no more than 14 students at a time. I've hosted a total of 8 of these workshops, many of which were completely sold out, and these workshops are 1.5-day events, and the cost to attend is $1,999. Okay, Free the Dream Conference. This is an event designed to help people immerse themselves into a full weekend of personal growth in the area of their mindset. People who attend this event learn about the power of their beliefs, where they came from, how to uncover hidden beliefs, how to create changes in their behavior that lasts a lifetime, and so much more. I'm going to skip the whole sales page message for the event and simply say that this is a life-transforming event for everyone who's attended, and they can attend this for as little as $499 all the way up to $1999 per ticket, depending on what ticket they purchased and when they got in on the early bird pricing. The average ticket price, however, is between $1,000 and $1,499. And especially it goes up all the way to as much as $19.99 during the final weeks leading up to the event. All right, anyway, the Next Level Mastermind. This is a mastermind group for those who are on the journey of full-time self-employment. These are people who are either already full-time self-employed and they're relatively crushing it, but they'd like to take it to the next level. And it's also for those who maybe they have a full-time day job right now, but they have a commitment to leaving that day job. They want to transition away from that day job and certainly want to be put on an accelerated path towards becoming profitable and replacing the day job income. So that's who the Next Level Mastermind is for. And I have a total of 3 different groups like this that I facilitate. And those who are in my group pay $1,000 per month. So those are the products and services, both free and paid, that I have decided to offer. And all of these, when I'm doing them, it doesn't feel like work at all. It's all inside of my zone of genius. All right. So here's the case study for you. In June of 2014, Stephen Faust signed up and went through my Podcasting A to Z online coaching program. This was back when Podcasting A to Z was only $14.99 to go through it. Matter of fact, it was the very next session after that the price went to $19.99. So Stephen Faust still paid $1,000, let's just say $1,500 to go through my 4-week group coaching program. Now, he successfully engaged through the entire process. He actually did everything that was necessary to launch his audio podcast. The only thing is, though, is that even though he went through the process, he ultimately ended up not creating ongoing content moving forward. And I have since learned that the reason why is because, well, he wasn't quite certain exactly that he felt great about his niche, his target audience, and his focus, and how that was going to allow him to achieve, the ability to maybe one day become full-time self-employed. And, just life gets in the way, and your day job just starts to eat away at your time, and one thing leads to another, and it's not that he wasn't able to successfully launch. He did. He had his podcast, he had his artwork, he had his jingle, he had everything. The only thing he didn't do was, after he successfully submitted the podcast, he just didn't create content from that day forward. And, that happens to some folks, all right? Now, anyway, Podcasting A to Z, June 2014. Stephen successfully did everything, but did not continue to produce content. A few months after going through Podcasting A to Z, I've since learned that, in fact, January 11th, 2015, Stephen subscribed to my email list, my email newsletter. Okay. Now, I did not know this at the time because there were a lot of people signing up for my newsletter. And at the time, I wasn't looking to get a notification every single time any person signed up for my mailing list. But what I do know is that in June of 2014, Stephen and I had an amazing 4 weeks of working together, with me as his coach, answering every single question he had. I do recall that interaction and those exchanges. But beyond that, I pretty much hadn't heard the name Stephen Faust until relatively recently. Okay, but looking back, I see that just a few months later, he signed up for my mailing list in January 2015. Now, Stephen continued to follow my weekly podcast episodes here on the Cliff Ravenscraft Show, and was especially interested in the weekly content that started to come out through the year of 2016, when I began to publicly discuss my identity crisis and my desire to do something other than podcast coaching and consulting. Now, some of you have been listening to the Cliff Ravenscraft Show as long as Stephen has, and you may remember in January 2016, I did the Year of Identity Part 1, the Year of Identity Part 2, where I was just like, listen, I believe I was created to do so much more than answer people's questions about what cables they need to hook up to their mixers all day long. There's something more that I want to do with my life. This has served me well. Podcast coaching and consulting has served me well for over a decade, and I could keep doing it and financially prosper and do all. But man, do I feel called to something more. And when I started sharing that content, folks like Stephen perked up and said, wow, okay, now you're speaking my language, because man, I'm making a great amount of money doing something that I'm excellent at, but I feel called to do something beyond what I'm doing now. And so he became very interesting and intrigued by all of that content through the year 2016 and beyond, because I've been sharing this journey ever since, right? Now, again, I didn't know Stephen was still listening to my weekly podcast. I didn't know Stephen was out there, But this is just why I want you to know. You have no idea who is listening to your show, who's been out there for week after week, month after month, year after year. And in my case, I'm entering decade after decade. All right. So anyway, Stephen continued to follow with great interest. In September 2017, he was even more invested in my weekly content through the Cliff Ravenscraft Show and my weekly email newsletter as I discussed the insights that I had gained from the book, The Big Leap, and my decision to shut down every single product and service related to podcasting and to make this jump into my zone of genius. Talking about how am I going to do that? What am I experiencing? He was following every single episode. In fact, I've since learned from Stephen that, man, there's a bunch of other great online mentors and business mentors who have amazing podcast content. And he says, Cliff, for some of those other guys, I listen to their episodes. I pick and choose which of their topics based upon their episode titles that sound interesting to me, but I've never missed any of your content. And there's something about you sharing your journey authentically, transparently. I feel so connected to what it is that you've been going through, and it gives me hope, and it draws me to, and it tells me, do not give up on this dream, this vision that I can pursue something different than the success I've had in my professional career thus far. All right? So anyway, Stephen had been observing each of the steps that I had taken to create the all new and some revised products and services that I've listed above. Here's the thing. Stephen Faust is an extremely successful aerospace executive with more than 30 years of experience in both the commercial and defense industries. The breadth of his leadership roles range from private equity portfolio companies to Fortune 100 global conglomerates. All right, I read that straight from his own bio. Anyway, today, Stephen serves as Senior Vice President in an industry-leading global company. And as you might imagine, he is extremely well compensated. And matter of fact, Stephen's given me, by the way, just so you know, Stephen has given me permission. He's on more than one occasion, he has given me direct permission to share anything that we have discussed publicly to help other people understand the value of the stuff that I've got going on here. So if you're wondering, I have permission to share all of this. But anyway, in Stephen's successful career, he even used that language I've heard a number of times. It's the golden handcuffs. He feels like he's handcuffed to this very successful professional career by the money that it generates, but it's not generating the fulfillment that he desires in his life. And it's not that he hates, by the way, he does not hate his job. He loves the work that he does. He would just like to switch it up a little bit he'd like to be self-employed and in control of his own schedule, be able to work with people independently throughout and he's got some great ideas, but he had lacked some clarity about how to make some of that stuff happen. Anyway, so that's a little bit more behind the scene insight outside of what I wrote to the group. Anyway, let's see here. The question, after sharing that Stephen is this extremely successful senior vice president in a globally respected Fortune 100 company, the question I might wonder is, why would such a successful high-level executive be so drawn to the content, products, and services that I create? As I've had the honor of getting to know Stephen, I've learned exactly why he continued to follow my journey so closely over the past several years. You see, Stephen Faust is the fullest expression of a true fan within my community. Now, as a reminder, Kevin Kelly is the man who came up with the concept of 1,000 true fans. And Kelly wrote that he said this. He says, "Die-hard fans will drive 200 miles to see you sing. They will buy the hardback and paperback and Audible versions of your book. They will purchase your next figurine sight unseen. They will pay for the best of DVD version of your free YouTube channel, and they will come to your chef's table once a month." And then I had reiterated in today's language, but what that means is that a true fan is somebody who will travel to your live event, he'll buy your book, he'll sign up for your course, he'll subscribe and follow you on every social media channel, and will share you and your work with everyone they know. Simply put, a true fan is someone who is dedicated to you and your message. So I've already told you that Stephen had been a subscriber to my weekly audio podcast, The Cliff Ravenscraft Show, which was previously Podcast Answer Man. He had already been a subscriber to my email newsletter since January 2015. He'd already paid $1,500 to go through Podcasting A to Z with me back in June 2014. And he remained a faithful follower of the content that I've produced year after year, even though personally I've not heard a peep from Stephen Faust since June of 2014. All right? Now, I'd like to share with you some of the recent events that have taken place on Stephen's journey as a true fan within my community. On February 12th, 2019, I received an automated email in my inbox that said the following. It just simply said, Stephen Faust has requested to be notified of the Next Level workshop for building an online business. Now that means that Stephen Faust had been on the sales page for the Next Level workshop over at nextlevelworkshop.info. nextlevelworkshop.info. He read everything about that building an online business course, and then he clicked the button that says click here to register. But then it took him to a page that says, I'm sorry, I'm currently do not have any sessions in the works right now. Nothing is currently planned. I'm currently focused on, Free the Dream and this other stuff. If you would like to be notified of the next time I have a session put on the schedule, enter your name and email address below, and I will put you on a waiting list, and you will be the first to be notified the next time I schedule one of these. Okay? So that I get those emails. I get about 5 to 6 of those a week. It's really awesome. I love that. And Stephen was one of those emails that came in. But because it came in, it still didn't immediately stand out to me on February 12th, 2019, when it came in. I just figured, hey, okay, great. Another person's interested. Maybe I'll reach out to those people again very soon. Who knows? Potentially, could I do it before Free the Dream? No, probably not. I'll wait until after Free the Dream. So that's kind of just the mindset that just went through when I saw that come through on February 12th, 2019. Let's see here. And again, that's the first time I'd seen his name since the summer of 2014, though. All right. Now, 3 days later, on February 15th, 2019, I got an email notification from Patreon. All right. The email simply said, Stephen Faust just became a $25 per month patron. Now, wait a second. Patreon is, of course, this service that allows content creators such as myself and maybe potentially you to be financially supported for the content that you create from your community. And here's the thing. You can have multiple tiers. You can have as little as $1 a month or $3 a month, $5 a month, $10 a month, all the way up to whatever you want, right? And the thing is, I only have one level. It's called the Audio Journal subscriber tier, and it's $10 a month. Now, the thing is, it's $10 or more per month to be able to get access to the Audio Journal podcast. So I have several people, by the way, that have contributed more than $10 per month. But this is the first one. Stephen is the first one that has actually contributed as much as $25 per month to have access to that Audio Journal podcast. So, now, I'm going to continue to go back to reading. The email stated, Stephen Faust just became a $25 per month patron. I want to make sure to point out that I only have... Okay, I already just told you that. Anyway, so while anyone in my community can benefit 100% from 100% of my behind-the-scenes content through the Audio Journal podcast for as little as $120 per year, Stephen decided to jump in and contribute $300 per year for this valuable extra content. The day that I saw this Patreon notification come through, I decided to send Stephen a customized personal video message to thank him for his contribution that went way above and beyond. Here's a link to the video that I sent to Stephen. I'm going to click this and play it for you.
Hey, Stephen, it's Cliff Ravenscraft here, coming to you from my wife's office. And I just checked my email and noticed that you have signed up as a Patreon supporter of the Audio Journal podcast. And I noticed that you also contributed or are looking to contribute $25 per month. And I just got to say, thank you so much. It means a ton to me to know that the content that I've created is so valuable that you'd be willing to contribute on such a level. And just wanted to say thank you personally. So I hope you're enjoying the Audio Journal content already, and I look forward to continuing to create that content for you and the other true fans in the community. Thank you so much. Bye.
All right. So, by the way, I sent that video message using a service called BombBomb, B-O-M-B. There are a lot of services out there just like this. I think you can use a service called Loom. You could look it up and it's absolutely free. I'm not going to go into a full sales pitch for BombBomb here and now, but let me just say there's a reason why I spend, I think, about $500 a year and pay for BombBomb. And I'll simply say that the number one reason is the animated GIF that gets generated and put into the emails. People see that and it's like, oh, I've got to click on that. And then they get this, they think that, oh, this message is probably just something he recorded for everyone. But then they hear me mention them by name. This one technique in my connection to people in my community has meant more to the people in my community than practically anything else that I have done in just communicating with them. And not only that, but you're about ready to hear something exciting in Stephen's journey of how he's worked with me. But I will tell you, when he was sitting here in my studio, little hint of what's coming, when he was sitting here in my studio just a few days ago, he told me, he goes, Cliff, let me show you this video that really impressed me and what made a massive impact and made me even more convinced that I needed to work with you. And it took him no more than 45 seconds to pull up his laptop, flip it over, and immediately show me the video that I just played for you the audio of. So I'm telling you, that's not the first time I've heard people tell me, Cliff, you know what really stood out is when you sent me that personal video. By the way, I do have an affiliate program, a connection with BombBomb. It's not inexpensive, but it's definitely worth $500. I think it's under $500 a year. But I think it's like $468 a year is what I pay for it, and I pay annually, and I always renew. I've had it for years. It's probably directly helped me generate over $500,000 since then. By the way, my affiliate link is mindsetanswerman.com/bomb. That's mindsetanswerman.com/BOMB. All right. If you use that link and you sign up, it will generate me a commission, just so you know that. Full disclosure. All right. So I sent him that video. Later that evening, still February 15th, 2019, I received an email response from Stephen. Here's what he wrote. And I'm going to read you his email. All right. And by the way, the PS is, you'll understand why I feel free to read you his email that showed up in my inbox. He says, hi, Cliff. I was so inspired that you took a few minutes to send me a personal thank you video. No one does that, right? Except you, of course. And it really meant a lot to me. It is a small way to show you how much your content has impacted me personally over the years. I have been a long time true fan, in quotes, since early 2014, starting with Podcast Answer Man. I've also listened to every episode of your Virtual Assistant podcast and many episodes of your old Pursuing a Balanced Life podcast, and I am now looking forward to the Audio Journal podcast. I actually attended your Podcasting A to Z course in June of 2014. At the time, I wanted to create a leadership podcast, pretty broad topic, I know, and unfortunately drifted away a bit and did not create the podcast due to corporate America sucking the life from me. And I have recently renewed a personal commitment and strategy to restarting this journey and eventually transitioning into a life of self-empowerment and doing what I love, which is teaching, coaching, and mentoring new and experienced leaders to be the very, very best that they can be. My 30 years of leadership experience has prepared me for this, and I absolutely love speaking with and teaching others how to be great leaders. Given all of this and the inspiration from you and your transition from the Podcast Answer Man to the Mindset Answer Man, I have finally, and then in all caps, finally launched the Entry Level Leadership Podcast and built a website. By the way, you might be able to go and look for that Entry Level Leadership Podcast. I'm not sure if it's there or not. And even if it is, it may even go through a little bit of a rebranding, but all of that, you'll understand why that may or I think that'll come out in just some thoughts that I share at the end of this. But anyway, he says it's also on iTunes, Stitcher, etc. Your teachings have made this fairly easy for me technologically, and your transition to the Mindset Answer Man continue to push me to grow and follow my dreams. I'm looking forward to attending an upcoming session of the Building an Online Business workshop in the Next Level Studio. I'm on your notification list for the next announced dates. At the end of it all, I subscribed to your Patreon feed and gave a little extra because you have been an inspiration to me and my dreams and goals. When I thought I could never get started, you seem to have a perfect episode ready to cheer me on and provide actionable advice. Why not me? I kept saying. True fans support those who make a difference in their lives. I would encourage every true fan to look for small ways to thank those who impact them. Looking forward to learning more about growing my podcast audience and eventually monetizing it. For now, I'm focused on being the best coach I can be and produce quality content that connects with those who need this type of help today and in the future. You've changed my life. Thanks, Cliff. Stephen Faust. P.S. Feel free to use this story, my name, etc., in any of your content, however you see fit. Okay, so from here, Stephen and I continued this exact email thread back and forth over the course of a couple days, and it extended to a couple weeks, and well, we've gotten to know each other through our email threads. And it became very apparent to me that Stephen would really benefit greatly from this Building an Online Business workshop sooner rather than later, especially since I already knew that one of the reasons why he kind of stalled on the production of his show was the fact that he wasn't so sure that he felt like maybe this entry level, this leadership thing was a little broad, and it seemed a little weak to me as well, given how much I know he has a passion specifically for what I've learned since. And I'm like, okay, and the idea that he was going to go straight into step 8, which is create content versus skipping the first 7 steps. Oh my gosh, let me please. Okay, if you're this much of a true fan, let me see if I can't find some way of working with you. And at the time I thought about, am I going to offer him this next level workshop? Am I going to try to put one on the calendar before Free the Dream and market that? And I'm like, no, I don't want to do that. But let me see what I wrote here to my Next Level Mastermind. So it became apparent that he could benefit from this much sooner than later. So I explained to him that I was not planning to offer the workshop until much later in the year after Free the Dream conference in September. I told him that I had an online course version of this workshop, and I also told him about a special mentoring offering that I do called A Day with Cliff, where he could come to Northern Kentucky and spend an entire 8-hour day of one-on-one mentoring with me, and where we could go out to dinner either the night before our day together or maybe immediately following our mentoring session. Now, by the way, for those of you who don't know this, I do offer this one-on-one mentoring session. And the price on this is $7,500. And little spoiler alert, Stephen Faust is the 4th member of my community to travel all the way to Northern Kentucky to spend an entire 8-hour day of mentoring with me. All right. Now, anyway, so I asked Stephen, would you be interested in investing in my Day with Cliff mentoring package? And if so, I'll grant you immediate access to the online version of Building an Online Business Workshop. That way you could go through all of the sessions of the Next Level Workshop for building an online business. And by the way, if any of you are interested in going through this online version, email me, cliff@cliffravenscraft.com, and put online course of business workshop in the subject line. Email me, cliff@cliffravenscraft.com, online course of business workshop, and say, Cliff, I'd like to know, how can I get access to those videos? So I told Stephen, I said, listen, if you get this online course, it's literally me teaching, it's video of me teaching every single session of this Building an Online Business Workshop. You can go through all of the videos, write down all the notes, and dude, you could come prepared to ask all the questions you could possibly think to throw at me that day. And by the way, you don't have to limit your questions to the Building an Online Business material. Nothing's off the table. You can ask me anything you desire. And so his email response is, hey, Cliff, let's do this. I will eagerly make the investment now so that I can get access to the materials. Then let me figure out my business travel schedule and propose some dates for our full day session at your place. Sounds like we are both flexible and we'll figure that out soon. So please go on and send me the invoice when you can, and I'll get it processed. Sound good? So on March 14th, 2019, I sent him the invoice, and in less than 2 hours, he paid the invoice. And then within a week, we had settled on him spending the day with me on Sunday, May 19th, 2019. And he would come in on Saturday, May 18th in the afternoon and get settled. And he and I would go out to dinner. And we were originally going to go out to dinner with Stephanie. He wanted to have dinner with myself and Stephanie. But then there was something that came up and Stephanie wasn't able to join us. But Saturday, Stephen and I were going to have dinner together on Saturday, May 18th. And then on Sunday, May 19th, we would spend our full day together. All right, let's fast forward now in this journey of the true fan of Stephen Faust. Fast forward to Saturday, May 18th. The time has arrived. I get a text message that morning. Stephen's like, "Hey, just want to let you know I'm heading to the airport." Well, guess what? He embarked on his travel from Phoenix, Arizona to Northern Kentucky. However, to make the journey, there were no direct flights from Phoenix to Cincinnati, which is in Northern Kentucky, by the way. The Cincinnati airport, anyway, is in Northern Kentucky, right down the road from my house. Anyway, his first flight he had to actually take his first flight connecting to the flight that would bring him to Cincinnati, and it was in Tucson, Arizona. And the first flight that he was scheduled to have was canceled. So they rebooked him on a later flight. And they said, hey, you know what? We can get you to Tucson, but you're going to miss your original connecting flight. So we're going to book you on a different connecting flight. And that would actually get him here much later in the evening. We would miss out on our opportunity to have dinner that evening. However, he said, I'm still eager to not miss this opportunity for our scheduled day together. So he made it to Tucson. However, once he arrived, all the planes were landed and flights were canceled due to severe weather. They were actually having tornadoes not too far from the airport. Stephen and I spoke briefly by phone. He explained what happened and that he basically was actually in a car. He rented a car at the Tucson airport and literally drove in a rental car from Tucson all the way back home to Phoenix. His opportunity that there was just no way he was going to be able to make it to Northern Kentucky for our day package together. Now, you might think that some customers would probably, in a circumstance like this, they would request a refund. It's like, hey, can I get a refund? I'm so sorry this didn't work out, right? And I mean, and the good news is that I always hold funds such as this in my account until after I've delivered the value for which the money was paid for. So, however, this is not a case study of an average customer. This, my friends, is the journey of a true fan. All right, this is a case study of a true fan. And Stephen actually was apologetic. He says, Cliff, man, I am so sorry that you carved out a weekend and set that aside and put all other plans on hold just for me to spend there, and I wasn't able to do that. Man, he was the one who was so apologetic. He says, Cliff, listen, here's the thing. Maybe we can just apply the funds to some other mentoring or something like that. Maybe we'll just do a Zoom call and I can ask you some questions. I mean, it's like, it's very clear. He's like, I'm not asking for a refund. And in a way, in his communication, he's like, listen, in good conscience, I probably shouldn't ask you to block out a different day and let's try it again, right? However, I'm like, hey, Steven, I told him, I said, I'll do whatever it takes to make you happy. Here's what I want you to know. If you're up to it, I'd be more than happy to schedule a new date for our one-on-one mentoring session. If you want to try this again. He immediately jumped at the opportunity, and we scheduled our Day with Cliff session for Tuesday, July 11th, which was just a couple days ago, 2 days ago. And we would have dinner on Monday, June 10th. And the cool thing is Stephanie would be available as well. And then I wrote, you're not going to believe this. I'm still reading to you from this long post that I shared with my mastermind groups. You're not going to believe this, but his original flight from Phoenix this time around was canceled. They offered to book him on the most inconvenient red-eye flight in the world, a 1 a.m. departure from Phoenix. And that would allow him to make a connecting flight with an insanely long layover to Northern Kentucky or the Cincinnati airport. Steven took the 1 a.m. flight from Phoenix to make the true fan journey of a lifetime to Northern Kentucky. Stephanie and I picked up Steven from his hotel, and we had the most enjoyable dinner at Seasons 52 restaurant. The amount of relationship building that happened during that dinner was incredible. Stephanie and I felt an instant, immediate, incredible bond with him, and we knew that what was about to transpire the next day was meant to be because, well, we just know exactly what he's been going through and what he's looking to do and just how possible it is and how much we knew of him and his personality. We knew he was going to succeed. We knew he is going to succeed. Now, at the end of that dinner, of course, we were fully anticipating to pay for the bill, but Steven refused to allow Stephanie and I to pay for that dinner. Now, we drove him back to his hotel so that he could get a good night's rest before our day together. He arrived the very next day, just 2 days ago, at 9 o'clock in the morning, and we began our 8 hours together. Now, as I said earlier, Steven was the fourth person to participate in my Day with Cliff mentoring offering. And just like the previous 3 clients who had done this before, Steven told me that he had already received more value in our first hour together than he had paid for the entire experience. And that's saying a lot if you considered his first failed travel attempt to get here. In fact, he was so happy with how the day was progressing that within the second hour of our day together, he's like, Cliff, hey, before I forget, let's go. Can I go ahead and purchase a VIP ticket to Free the Dream right here? Let me just go ahead and knock that out so I don't forget. And so right there on the spot, he buys a VIP ticket. Now, at this very moment in time that I'm recording this, there is a 25% early bird discount, which means that he just spent $1,500 for the VIP ticket to Free the Dream, which, by the way, if you're listening to this after Thursday, June 13th, just know that 25% early bird pricing may be gone, but I promise you, whatever you pay for a Free the Dream ticket, it is an investment that will pay dividends well beyond your wildest imagination. But anyway, just to let you know, he's invested to come to this Day with Cliff, and within his second hour of being here for that mentoring session, he's already spent another $1,500 on a VIP ticket to Free the Dream. All right. Now, all right. So Let me see where I'm at in here. In fact, okay. Stephen was gaining so much insight, so much clarity, and was blown away by just how different this day was from what he had expected. And by the way, those are he says, Cliff, this is not what I expected. And he goes, and I mean that in a completely awesome way. This is the most powerful day of mentoring that I've ever experienced. And at the end of our day together, during our very last 45 minutes, he says, Cliff, okay, let's talk about the next level mastermind. How, which everything, which group would be the right fit for me? And I told him about the PM group, and he says, can I sign up for it right here, right now? And right while we were still here in that day, he signs up for the Next Level Mastermind PM group with the full commitment that he's getting ready to travel home, have his first day, his day back at work the next day, and his first mastermind group meeting was last night. Now, because Stephen allows me to share with you, the call last night, the Next Level Mastermind group, oh my gosh, it was so amazing. And of course, Stephen was just a participant. He of course was able to really benefit the person who was in the hot seat from his own experience and stuff like that. But he was just this observer of another hot seat. And I sit there after last night's mastermind group, after his very first session, I immediately texted and I said, "How fun was that?" Or I said, "Was that fun or what?" And this is his text back. He goes, "Wow!" ! He says, "That was awesome. I feel like I got as much out of that as Matt," which Matt was the person who is in the hot seat. And I said, "Exactly. Now you understand why I love mastermind groups so much." And then he wrote back one more line, "Life changer!" All right? I love it. Anyway, so yep. Even before he left his Day with Cliff session, he had purchased a VIP ticket to Free the Dream and signed up for the Next Level Mastermind. All right. Okay, I'm not going to do the math here. However, there's enough detail in this case study. If you go all the way back to the products and services and the cost of each of those products and services and everything that I've shared here, you can do your own math and see just how much money one true fan has invested in the various different free and paid products and services that I've had. Okay? So by the way, it might be worth it for you to do a little bit of an exercise. Yes, I could do this for you. But man, I think it'd be a whole lot better if you just went through the process of doing the math yourself to find out just how much one true fan could potentially spend working with you if they are indeed the truest, fullest expression of that true fan. All right? And I just want to say this. If you end up doing the math, I only need 10 true fans. I only need 10 true fans like Stephen Faust to make over $100,000 a year. All right? And I have significantly more than 10 true fans. All right. Now, do I have hundreds of true fans? Like that, do I have hundreds of true fans? Yes. Do I have hundreds of true fans who are the fullest expression, who are in a place where they can afford to basically jump in at every single thing that you have to offer? And because everything that you offer is meant for different aspects of the exact ideal customer that you know that you serve best? Well, not all hundreds of those true fans can do that, but you know what? I have more than 10 true fans like Stephen Faust. And so here's what I want. And I say all of that, and I said all that to my Next Level Mastermind, and I said, listen, this stuff does not happen overnight. I did not earn Stephen's trust with a carefully crafted sales page or an email marketing funnel. I'm going to say that again. I did not earn Stephen's trust with a carefully crafted sales page or an email marketing funnel. It has taken years of producing highly valuable products and services, both free and paid, to develop the relationship that I have shared with you in this email, or now in this podcast episode. I am excited to tell you that Stephen is not the only true fan in my community. However, he is one of the few that has given me the permission to tell you the whole story with a significant amount of detail. Here's one thing that I want to say. When I create an episode of the Cliff Ravenscraft Show or the Audio Journal, it never feels like work to me. Actually, you know what? Since I've posted that, there have been times when the Cliff Ravenscraft Show, creating content for it, has felt like work, but that's only when I've got some mindset things that I'm working through. But the Audio Journal has never felt like work. And since I shared whatever the It's Confession Time episode like 2 months ago or whatever, it's not been like work since. So anyway, it is a great joy to have the opportunity to create content that people will listen to. The newsletter that I produce is mostly made up of summaries of my YouTube vlog, the best of anyway, content that I produce with links to the best content that I've created. Okay, there I go for ad-libbing. Anyway, none of the vlog content that I create and the email newsletter, none of that feels like work to me. I'm inside of my zone of genius every moment I spend on it. I'm loving it. Time flows. Time flies. All right? The same is true for all of the time, effort, and energy I put into my next level workshops, the Free the Dream conference, the facilitation of my next level mastermind groups, and of course, my Day with Cliff session that I did with Stephen and the other 3 individuals that have done a Day with Cliff package. It's the most enjoyable 8 hours you could possibly imagine spending. Seriously. It is, it's like, man, I am literally living my dream. All right. So I am literally making an awesome living today, spending a minimum of 80% of my work week every week directly in the center of my zone of genius. The life I live today is 100% worth the past 12 years of blood, sweat, and tears that I've put into building the foundation for the life that I have today. That, my friends, is my win of the week. See photo below of Stephen and I at the end of our Day with Cliff session, and I'll put that in the show notes over at mindsetanswerman.com/602. My friends, that's what I wanted to share with you this week in the episode. I wanted to share with you a follow-up. Back in episode 578, I introduced you guys to the old concept that you only need 1,000 true fans to make an amazingly awesome living. And yes, in that episode, I told you that you could get by with 100 true fans. And if you only had 10 Stephen Fausts, you could do it. All right? I said it, but in this episode, I demonstrate it. With permission to demonstrate it. I actually could demonstrate some of the other ones, but unfortunately, some of those people have shared with me some very private information that quite frankly is it's just not stories to tell. It's not my story to tell, and I don't have permission, and I wouldn't dream of asking them for it. But Stephen says, Cliff, dude, tell the world about what's happened. I think they need to know because they need to be able to experience what I've experienced. That's what Stephen told me. Guys, don't worry about your next 5,000 subscribers. Don't worry about your next 1,000 subscribers. Don't worry about your next 100. Worry about getting your next one and building a relationship with them. Do that. Actually, in fact, don't worry about it. Just do it. Worry is not good for you. It just creates stress and all kinds of other problems in your life. Hey, real quick, before I wrap things up here, couple things I want to share with you. Number one, did you know that Free the Dream Conference is coming up in September? I would love for you to grab one of these VIP tickets at this early bird discount price. Head over to freethedreamconference.com, freethedreamconference.com. Get your VIP tickets before they run out because there is a limited number of VIPs. And I can tell you right now, 98% of all ticket sales to Free the Dream have been VIP tickets. All right. And so those are about ready to run out. And then all that's going to be left over are the standard tickets. Now, the standard tickets are going to be fine. Standard ticket will get you in to every single session of the main sessions on Friday morning from 9 in the morning until I think it's 5:30 in the evening, and then Saturday from 9 in the morning till 5:30 in the evening, from 9 in the morning on Sunday until 12:30 in the afternoon. You get all of those sessions, and there'll be some other standard ticket holders, and you can do lunch and dinner with folks that you meet at the conference. However, VIP ticket holders, well, that's a different level. What you get as a VIP ticket holder is you obviously get all of those sessions I just talked about, but you also get dinner on site there. You get lunch, a VIP lunch, a VIP dinner on Friday, and a VIP lunch on Saturday. So it's basically right there. You don't have to go wait in line at a restaurant and all that other stuff. Your meals are included. Not only will you'll be there with other people who are investing at that higher level, which means that these are people who are basically action takers. They're the people who are the most interested in investing in their personal and professional development at the highest level. These are the people you'll want to mingle with and get to do life with. Some of them you might even spark up a relationship and do masterminding with. I've seen people who have who met people at these VIP gatherings last year, and they've turned into paid clients for them. There's all kinds of stuff that happens. So VIP, you get the VIP lunch, VIP dinner on Friday, and then VIP lunch on Saturday as well. All of it on site right there, and you don't miss a minute of networking. And you also get to mingle and rub shoulders with myself, my family, and also all of the other amazing speakers at Free the Dream, because my event is one of those events where my speakers don't just fly in, speak, and then fly out. They're actively engaged in the entire conference, and when it comes to where are they going to have lunch and dinner, they're going to be at the VIP lunch and dinners. So yeah, grab your VIP ticket before they go away. And by the way, don't feel bad if you go to freethedreamconference.com and a VIP ticket isn't available for you. If all that's there is a standard ticket, by golly, get the standard ticket. Don't miss this opportunity. And I promise you, you will have people that you can go to lunch with and go to dinner with. You will be able to maximize your ability to network, and not to mention the fact that it's a single stage event. So there's not everybody stays in the same place anyway. So come to Free the Dream. Get your ticket before the price goes up. freethedreamconference.com. Then just a couple other things I want to share. I mentioned in this story that I've got some other products, right? So last week I talked about the audio journal. And did I see a couple new subscribers come on board? Yeah, I did. And every single one of them are blown away by what they're getting for $10 a month. Can I just share with you? I'm a little shocked that it wasn't more people. I am. I'm just a little shocked because I know some of you who I definitely consider you to be a true fan. There's no doubt in my mind that you fit the definition of a true fan. I can think of about 50 people's names off the top of my head. I connect with you on a consistent basis, but you're not yet a subscriber to the audio journal. And that puzzles me. I'm not upset by it. I still consider you a friend. I always will. And I will continue to engage with you and look for ways to serve you beyond your wildest expectations in any way that God allows me to do. But I just got to say, I don't understand why more people aren't taking me up on the audio journal. I mean, literally, people are paying me thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars to share with them one-on-one or in a mastermind group, the kind of stuff I'm just tossing out for free consistently on the audio journal for $10 a month. But anyway, it is what it is. The audio journal, you can find out more over at mindsetanswerman.com/audio journal. Now, again, the building an online business workshop. This is for those of you who want to escape the day job, maybe build an online business around something that you are passionate about, the work that you feel most called to do in this world. Well, I tell you, I consider myself a pro in helping people successfully create profitable and responsible online businesses. And this is a workshop that's $19.99 to attend it live. It's an amazing event. You can learn more information about it at nextlevelworkshop.info, nextlevelworkshop.info. And if you go to the sales page, one thing I can tell you is there's no sessions currently available because, well, all my focus is right now on Free the Dream Conference. But go ahead and click that button. That I think it's an orange button or a green button. I don't know what color. Just click the button to register, and it'll tell you. It's like, I'm sorry, there's no sessions. But if you put your name and email address below, you'll be put on a waiting list. And I'm going to give you a little secret. If you do that, you'll instantly get an email that says, hey, thanks, you've been added to my waiting list. And by the way, did you know I have an online version of this? You can start benefiting from it from as early as right now. And there currently, if you add your name to that list, I'm just saying there might be a special price on that online course version. Anyway, check that out at nextlevelworkshop.info. And then, of course, the Next Level Mastermind, if anybody's interested in that. I do have the Next Level Mastermind. It's $1,000 a month for those who are full-time self-employed or on this journey of becoming full-time self-employed. And for those of you who either can't afford $1,000 per month or you're not necessarily on the journey of being full-time self-employed, but man, I am so into this personal and professional development. And I have a day job that quite frankly does fulfill me and I like it. But I still have dreams and goals that I love support, encouragement, and motivation and accountability to consistently move toward. I just don't have in my day-to-day life people who, quite frankly, elevate me to my highest standards and what I'm in my highest calling. I would love to be in a group like that. Cliff, is there a group for me? And the answer to that question is yes. I do have a group that does not meet on a weekly basis. It meets twice a month, and it's less than $1,000 a month, and you do not have to be full-time self-employed or on the journey of becoming so. So if you're interested in that, you'd have to email me for that. By the way, the mastermind group, nextlevelmastermind.info. And if you'd like the group that's not required that you be self-employed, that's Cliff at cliffravenscraft.com. Email me, put other mastermind group in the subject line. And here's the deal. I know there's, out of all of you who are listening to this episode, there's only about 50 to 75 of you, only 50 to 75 of you who are in a position to pay $7,500 to spend an entire one-on-one day of mentoring session here with me in the Next Level studio. But I wanted to let you know, I don't promote this. It's not on my website anywhere, but I've mentioned it here. And if you happen to be one of those people, one of the select few who are, praise God, you are in a position to be able to do that. And if you'd like to, now that you've heard about this opportunity, and it's like, listen, I would definitely travel to Northern Kentucky and spend $7,500 to spend an 8-hour day with Cliff. And if I can have dinner with him and his wife the night before or maybe the night after, that would be incredible. If you're interested in that, email me, Cliff at cliffravenscraft.com, and put Day with Cliff in the subject line. Guys, until next time, I encourage you to take your relationships with your true fans to the next level.
Hi, this is Stephen Faust, and I just want to give you some feedback about my day with Cliff today. So I was lucky enough to spend the entire day with Cliff, and that started from me asking him about an upcoming online business workshop. There wasn't one available. Cliff reached out to me. I went through the online material. I went ahead and purchased that from Cliff, and also set up a full day with Cliff to go through some other what I would call behind the scenes things. So what I can tell you is it's far exceeded my expectations. It is, as I was telling Cliff earlier, it is different and not what I expected, but in a good way. The ability to sit in the Next Level studio and ask literally anything that you want. No topic was off limits, and everything was authentic and transparent. So I would highly recommend that if you've ever considered spending a day with Cliff, it will be much more than you could ever expect.
Well, the first thing I want to say about today is that it was amazing. And I knew it would be. I knew spending a day with Cliff would be outstanding. However, if I had to bottom line the most important thing that I got out of today, it was clarity. And a few things about that. One of the things that's relevant to an entrepreneur, a person working by themselves, is you're working by yourself. So it's difficult. You might have some people to bounce things off, but to sit with Cliff for an entire day and go through, here are the next steps. Here's the next thing that needs to happen. And it wasn't just getting clarity about the content, the specific actions. There were also repeat patterns that I knew I had going on. And when I got to sort that out with Cliff, and he's lived it, it became incredibly relevant. And so I leave today with an incredible amount of clarity. And I think that's what I would say is most important about the day. I'm Daphne Scott, and I am sitting in the chair of the podcast Answer Man. I want to give a very specific testimonial to Cliff Ravenscraft, and specifically for his coaching and mentoring, whether you are going to come to one of his 2-day workshops, or if you're interested in taking the big jump and doing a whole day with Cliff. I highly recommend either of them. I've known Cliff for years. I've worked with him for years. And most importantly, he has definitely allowed me to take my leadership, my life, my podcast, the whole shebang to the next level. So I highly recommend spending time with Cliff and taking the jump to take your life to the next level.
When I first decided to attend the Next Level workshop, I wasn't completely sure that it was the right thing for me. I'm one of those people that I had dabbled in doing an online business for actually a couple of years, and I wasn't sure if I was ready. I wasn't sure if I had the mindset, and wasn't really sure if it was worth the investment at this point. Having just completed the Next Level workshop and spending a day with Cliff on top of that, I can tell you that it is one of the best investments that I've ever made in terms of getting my online business up and off the ground. I think the best word that I could use to describe my experience and what I received from it is clarity, but that so understates what my experience was like. The Day with Cliff experience was way above my expectations. My objective in coming into the Day with Cliff after the workshops was to turbocharge my workshop experience. I was looking forward to being able to take what I had learned and bring it down to a slightly more personal level. What I am coming away with is a battle plan that's going to allow me to not only get my business built and launched, but allowed me to pull in so many other seemingly unrelated areas of my life that I was able to pull together in a way that allows me to walk away feeling more confident in my abilities and more confident that I'm going to achieve the goals and objectives that I have set for myself now as it relates to building and launching an online business. I would recommend making the investment, and that's what this is, into the Next Level workshop and the Day with Cliff. It's well worth it, and I think the dividends that it will pay for me and for anyone that does it is just going to be huge in the future.
Hi, I'm Ray Edwards, and I'm sitting in Cliff Ravenscraft's Next Level studio, and I was here to spend a day with Cliff. And it's an investment that I was happy to make. And you may say, if you know anything about Cliff and I, you know that we're friends. We talk a lot, and you may wonder, well, Ray, you have total access to this guy. Why would you invest in doing something like this? Well, first of all, it's because there's a phenomena of we become too familiar with people, and maybe you don't have the same relationship with Cliff that I do, but maybe you've listened to him, maybe you've watched him on YouTube or Facebook, and you think you know everything about Cliff. I'm telling you, you don't. I wanted to come here and value him for what he brings to the table. His ability to speak into my life, my situation, to help me see things that are bonds really that are holding me back from the level of success I could be achieving, and to break me free of those bonds and give me the freedom to accomplish the things that God put me on this earth to do. And specifically in my business, he has given me such insights. I mean, I walk away from here thinking, I should have invested much more. I got much more value than what the investment cost me to be here. Cliff is a person who has walked the path that you're on. He has seen the hazards, the dangers, the pitfalls, and he knows the way around those hazards, dangers, and pitfalls. And he can help you see things that you can't see yourself, because it's difficult to read the label when you are inside the bottle. And that's where you are. You need somebody to help you read that label and figure out the key to your specific path to more success. So I encourage you without hesitation to invest in spending the day with Cliff. You will not be sorry.
Mindset Answer Man.